Hello, everybody, and welcome to 38 Weeks to Go, your weekly podcast about fantasy football. I am your host, Nash, and let's get into it. Just like that, the season is over. 38 weeks have come and they are officially gone. Let that sink in. 38 weeks are gone. We started this journey last year in August, and now we're in May. You've done it. If you've made it this far, congratulations. So, how was this final game week for you? Did it do the thing that you needed it to do? How did you feel about it? For me, my biggest worry entering this game week was what to do with my triple captain. I don't know why, but I left it so late to use it. But thankfully, it came in clutch because I had two options. I really was looking for a captain. And for the first time in a long time, I nailed my captain choice. And it was Bowen. And having him as captain got me 39 points. I can't complain. If it wasn't for him, I would have probably got 40 points. The average was 46, so I would have probably gotten somewhere along that. The bravest thing I did was remove KDB, which turned out to be a great decision because he didn't start. And then the other one, which was brave but foolish in the end, was removing Salah. He's been doing nothing, and then the minute I remove him, he scores. But isn't that what fantasy is all about? So with an average of 46, it isn't that high. So what went wrong? Let's see. Let's go over what went wrong this week. After giving up on Semenyo, he pops up with 2 goals out of nowhere. I think the biggest game of the weekend ended up being Manchester United versus Aston Villa. Mainly because Martinez got a red card. And that really affected the outcome of that game and what many people would have assumed would have gone right or wrong in that game. That sending off cost Aston Villa the game. I mean, Manchester United won the game. They did their part. But in 11 versus 11, everybody believes they would have done better. So for the many of us who had Konsa, Martinez, and a bunch of Aston Villa players, this really hurt us. Another game which ended up being a differential game was Newcastle versus Everton. Finally, Isak plays after not playing the last game weekend, so we're all happy. But Newcastle collectively do nothing. Everton win the game, and we're all stuck with our Newcastle defenders, midfielders, and striker. Meanwhile, we've put our Everton players on the bench because we expect Newcastle to win. That did not go our way. Forest versus Chelsea was a bit of an interesting one because it was tight and it was hard to call. I just didn't expect a clean sheet from Chelsea, and I'm sure a few of you did not either. And so you put your Forest defenders and then you put your Chelsea defenders on the bench. Then what happens? Chelsea wins 1-0. And you have your Wood and everybody else. Arsenal decide not to start with anybody. And for people like me who had brought in Saka because in the return fixture, Saka was immense. He comes on in the 70th minute to do nothing. So, depending on which Arsenal players you had, this game was a big disappointment because of Arteta rotation. And then on top of that, them not keeping a clean sheet hurt many of us because we either had doubled up on defense or at least had one. For the first time in a while, Mbeumo delivered without any issue. You know, he usually misses a penalty or he has a yellow card or there's something about him. Or you think they're going to win big. They win big, but he does nothing. This time, it was just fine. It was just if you had doubled or tripled up on that team, it was a disaster. There were 5 clean sheets this game week. The highest scoring game this game week was Tottenham 1, Brighton 4. Fresh off winning the Europa Cup, Tottenham celebrated by continuing to be poor in the Premier League. I swear, sometimes predicting Bournemouth and Brighton scorers is maybe the most difficult thing you can do in this league. Brighton, Hinchelwood, O'Reilly, Gomez. Who would have thought? Tottenham did create their chances, and they could have scored more than 1 goal if they were on point. But I don't know. It just seems like they need to get rid of the manager, if you ask me. They've won the title. He's lost the team. He can't He's done it. That's enough. Brighton, on the other end, were impressive. They were playing to qualify for Europe, and they gave it their best foot forward. Hinchelwood scored off a defensive mistake, then he scored another goal. Then Mitoma was brought down in the box. O'Reilly scored the penalty, and then Gomez scored maybe the goal of the weekend with a beautiful curling effort. If you haven't seen it, please check it out. Definitely a worthy contender for goal of the season. And then just look at this. Hinchelwood, O'Reilly, Gomez. Who would have figured? So if you had your Mitoma, your Welbeck, your Joao Pedro, this was also a disappointing match for you. Well, Mitoma scored. He had an assist. He just didn't start. So, of course, naturally, Hinchelwood had the 3 bonus points. Gomez had 2, and Solanke had 1. When it comes to the marquee game of the weekend, it is really, you could say it was Nottingham Forest versus Chelsea, because Europe was beckoning for both, and Champions League spots were at stake. It ended up being Chelsea leading 1-0 with Levi Colwill scoring. Palmer, unlucky he created a chance, but Neto did not take it. Wood missed 2 chances. There were half chances, but on another day, he could have scored 2 goals. Chelsea didn't really create much, and the game just ended like that. It was a bit of a lot is happening, but nothing is happening kind of game. And yeah, so Colwill wins the game for Chelsea. He gets the 3 bonus points. Cucurella finishes strong. And Tosin Adarabioyo gets the 1-pointer. So as you can see, defense won this game. And so if you had Forest players, I'm sorry, they just weren't worth it this time around. When it comes to the most disappointing match of the weekend, there are really 2 contenders. One is Newcastle 0, Everton 1. But I think the real one is Manchester United 2, Aston Villa 0. Now, Martinez got rightfully sent off, but Morgan Rogers had a goal disallowed, which was a bit shaky at best for me. I think it was a good goal. Now, even before he got sent off, Manchester United had created the better chances. The sending off was not necessary in that he could have taken his chance. It was a bad pass. He was exposed, everything. But at 1-0 down, you have something. You can still come back. But he did not trust his teammates, and eventually they lost the game. Matty Cash gave a horrible back pass. He set Martinez up for that red card. Ahmad had been threatening all game, and I'm sure next season he'll be 7 or 8.0. He scored off a Bruno Fernandes assist, and then Ahmad was brought down later on for the penalty, and you would think Bruno Fernandes would take it, but he did not. It was Christian Eriksen. So if you were a Bruno Fernandes holder, it was a bit of a bittersweet moment, even though Manchester United got the win. And I guess it's a good way for them to finish the season. Very disappointing for Aston Villa. Very disappointing for Aston Villa asset holders, especially if you captained Watkins, maybe even more so if you captained Morgan Rogers, because I think a different ref would have let that one go. Ahmad had the 3 bonus points. Heaven got 2. Bruno Fernandes had 1, and Dogo had 1. When it comes to top round performers, in goal, Pickford was the best of the bunch with 11. Edison, 7. Kepa, Bayındır, and Sanchez, 6. When it comes to defenders, Colwill, 15. Zabarani, 11. Tierney, 10. Mikolenko, 9. Vardiol, Heaven, Cucurella, 8. For midfielders, I'll read those who got 10 and above. Semenyo, 16. Hinchelwood, 15. Gundogan, 14. Bowen, 13. Ahmad, 13. Gomez, 11. Alcaraz, 10. Salah, 10. When it comes to forwards, Gakpo and Solanke were tied for top with 7. Haaland had 6, and the other forwards are just 2. So we're not going to even talk about them. Let's go over the stats of the weekend. Now, Manchester City, Chelsea, Newcastle, and Tottenham have qualified for Champions League. And Tottenham, of course, did it by defeating Manchester United over the week in the Europa Cup final. Aston Villa, by losing, got out of the Champions League place, and Newcastle maintained it even if they lost. So Nottingham Forest are rewarded for a great season with Europe, just not Champions League. Aston Villa get Europa, Nottingham Forest get Conference League, and Crystal Palace, for winning FA Cup, get Europa as well. Salah scored a goal which took him to 344 points, which is 41 points better than the record. This is a new fantasy Premier League record, 344 points. He also set a record for the most bonus points recorded in a single campaign after claiming 55 bonus points. The previous most was Cesc Fabregas, who got 54 bonus points in 06-07. Bowen scored and assisted for 13 points, which for me was 39 because of the triple captaincy. It was his highest score of the season and the 6th successive game week in which he produced an attacking return. He was great over the end of the season. For game week 38, the most bought players were Evanilson, bought by 650,000 people. Bowen, brought in by 580,000 people. Watkins, brought in by over 500,000 people. Saka, brought in by 440,000 people. Kirkes, brought in by 403,000 people. The most sold players were Isak, 1 million people. Saliba, 595,000 people. KDB, 372,000 people. Wood, 267,000 people. Munoz, 215,000 people. And none of those people regretted it. This year alone, this Premier League season, 1,091 goals were scored in the Premier League. The second most behind 23-24 when 1,246 goals were scored. I blame that on Sheffield. Salah scored 28 goals after 37 games, seeing him join Thierry Henry as a league top scorer across 4 seasons. Salah also recorded 46 goal involvements, the most in a 38-game Premier League season. Salah has now scored and assisted in the same Premier League game 42 times, overtaking Wayne Rooney in terms of goal involvements. Erling Haaland reached his 100th goal involvement in just 94 games. It was the fastest any player has ever done in the Premier League. Brian Mbeumo's strike after 38 seconds against West Ham in September saw Brentford become the first team in the Premier League to score in the opening minute in 3 consecutive games. Justin Kluivert became the first player in Premier League history to score a hat-trick of penalties in a single game. And it also saw Evanilson become the first Premier League player to win 3 penalties in one game. By winning the league, Arne Slot has become the 5th manager to win the Premier League season in his debut season. 17% of games had comeback wins, remontadas, if you will. And this season saw 7 matches record a comeback with wins from 2 goals down. There were 93 goals scored in the 90th minute or later, the second most of any season in record. Next season, we'll see the Champions League have 6 teams from England, and it's the first time any team has had more than 5. Another rarity of this season, there were 4 different teams winning silverware. Liverpool won the league, Crystal Palace won the FA Cup, Newcastle United won the League Cup, Europa League were won by Spurs, and if Chelsea win, they will have won the Europa League, the Conference League, and that'll see 5 different English teams win something. This season saw the first player from Iraq, Ali Al-Hamadi, play for Ipswich in the Premier League, and the first Uzbekistani to play in the Premier League, Kuzanov from Man City. Brentford's 5-3 victory over Wolves was the first Premier League game to see 8 goal scorers of a different nationality score in one game. There were 65 homegrown debuts across 18 clubs, the 4th most since the launch of the Elite Player Performance Plan, which is just a development league. By winning the title, Liverpool have now got 20 Premier Leagues, which is just as many as Manchester United. However, they finished 42 points ahead of Manchester United, which is the biggest ever gap in points between the two sides at the end of a top-flight campaign. Arsenal's top scorer in the Premier League was Kai Havertz, who had 9 goals. It's the first time since 1923-24 that the Gunners haven't had a player score 10 or more goals. The average age of Chelsea starting 11 was 24 years and 36 days. It was the youngest ever team Tottenham lost 22 league games this season. This is the most that a team has ever lost without being relegated. Nottingham Forest's 19 wins in the Premier League this season is a joint most by a team not to finish in the top 6, along with Manchester United in 2013-14. With 47 goal involvements, Mo Salah has now equaled the all-time record for most goal involvements in a Premier League season, 47, leveling with Andy Cole, who did it in 93-94, and Alan Shearer, who did it in 94-95. Nottingham Forest versus Chelsea is only Premier League game this season to see neither side land a shot on target in the first half. Mohamed Salah is the 5th different player in the Premier League history to be named Player of the Season on more than one occasion, after Henry, Cristiano Ronaldo, Nemanja Vidic, and Kevin De Bruyne. Salah scored on match day 1 in the Premier League. Thanks to his goal and his assist against Ipswich, Salah became the player with the most goals, 9, and the most goal involvements, 9 goals, 5 assists, on match day 1 in Premier League history. What does that mean? Next season, when the season starts, Captain Salah. With his appearance against Everton on match day 1, James Milner broke the record for playing in the most different Premier League campaigns. 23. At 39 years and 39 days old, Everton's Ashley Young became the oldest player to ever be sent off in a Premier League match. Against Wolves, Madueke scored his first senior hat-trick. All 3 goals were assisted by Cole Palmer. It was the 5th time a player has assisted a teammate 3 or more times in the same game. Everton were leading Bournemouth by 2 goals until the 87th minute before losing 3-2. It is the latest a team has ever been 2+ goals behind and then mount a comeback. Erling Haaland scored 7 goals in his first 3 games of 24-25, and that's more than any other player over the opening 3 matches of a season. Everton then became the 2nd team in Premier League history to lose back-to-back games after having led by 2 goals or more when they lost to Aston Villa. Manchester City's win over Brentford was a 51st unbeaten Premier League game for Rodri, who became the 2nd player to go more than 50 games unbeaten after Sol Campbell. In the top 10,000 managers, 72% of them Captain Salah, 7% Captain Bowen, and a miserable 5% Captain Saka, 3.2 Captain Watkins, and 2.6 Captain Bomo. Globally, Salah was the most selected player, he was the most captained player, and he was the most vice-captained player. The player of the game week was none other than Semenyo with the 16 points. The highest points of the week saw a team named Homecoming get 125 points. And you know there's always one of these guys. And this guy captained, not even captained, he triple captained Semenyo. So Semenyo got him 48 points, which is more than the average this week. Then he had Mo Salah, who had 10, Bomo, who had 8, Palmer, who had 3, Bernardo Silva, who had 3, Wissa, who had 11, Colwell, who had 15, Vardiol, who gave him 8, Zabarni, who gave him 11, Ruben Diaz, who gave him 7, Pickford, who gave him 11. Talk about defense carrying you, and that's how he got 125 points. In our league table, the top manager, or rather the final manager tally leader of the week, belongs to Sansus. Team name Sansus, manager Sansus. He had 91 points, and he used the assistant manager chip, and on it he put it to David Moyes, who gave him 19 points. Then Wissa gave him 1, Isak gave him 2, Cunha gave him 2, Bowen was his captain, that gave him 26, Salah gave him 10, Bomo gave him 8, Shada gave him 2, Ait Nouri gave him 2, Van Dijk gave him 1, Ruben Diaz gave him 7, and Pickford gave him 11. The overall rank riser this week for the final game week of the season belongs to Smacha Cham, manager of Kundi Matata, jumped 385,000 positions globally. Well done to you. In our league, Emmanuel Ogbobu jumped 19 positions. Well done to you, sir. Highest team value of the season ends with Bode Blachowicz, who ended with a mighty 105.9 million valuation. The most transfers made after a period of quiet. Don Clinton, for the final time, he made 8 transfers this game week. Mike's team was second, tied with Sachivini, who made 7 transfers. Moses Mushiri made 6, and rounding up the top 5 was Lilian Chiro, who made 5. Solo Kamau added 0.7 million to the bank. When it comes to disappointing transfer outcomes, Moses Mushiri lost 24 points by the transfers he made. Don Clinton, negative 23. Mike Mbogwa, negative 19. Victor Nyabola, negative 18. And number 5, Fama Champes, negative 12. Most points on the bench belongs to Fahmi Zulkifli, Flick United. He left 26 points on the bench. 13 of those points belong to Ahmad. 9 of those belong to Mikolenko. And then Milenkovic and Sels got 2. Very unfortunate week. He got 44 points. And you can see leaving that many points on the bench was painful. And then he captained Saka. Ali Muddin, 23 points on the bench. Vinny Makori, Noel Ritchie, 23 points on the bench. Mike Wow, Rashok Ngalo, 22 points on the bench. Abdallah Kili lost 1.2 million in team value this game week. Most decrease in rank belongs to Papi Chulo, manager of Zoza Nation. He dropped 400,000 positions. Streak of red arrows, and I think that title will end with Abdiaziz Guled. 15th red arrow in a week. I think this guy just gave up midway and was like, yeah, I'm done. I can't win it. I'm not playing. This week, the last points, at least the lowest points, belong to Real Vicenza. He got 17 points. He was the one who captained KDB the whole season. So, of course, as you know, KDB got 2. From a trying team, Regan Orina, manager of Rigo, got 24 points and he was the real lowest. He had Wisa 1, Havertz 1, Gordon 1, Eze 3, Captain Palmer 6, Luis Diaz 2, Aitnuri 2, Robertson 2, Ben White 5, Pedro Porro negative 1, and Raya 2. Lowest team value belongs to Malik United, 95.7. Cruise Controller dropped the most positions in our league. He dropped 19 positions. The best transfer outcome belongs to Wilson Ding, who from his transfers gained 19 points. Michael Miner was second with 18, Mike Wow 17, Hector Orembo 17 as well, and number 5, Peter Kimani 15 points. Well done, guys. Way to finish the season strong. Hafsa Yusuf's team, the Dreamers, was the team with the most goal scorers. They scored 5 goals. When it comes to the streak of green arrows, Terence Nigel has seen his team been rising for the 10th week in a row. That is how you finish the season strong. Well done to you, sir. May it continue next season. When it comes to captain choices, a lot of people decided to finish how they started. Salah, captain. 91 people chose him as captain. And then the drop-off is ridiculous. 18 people chose Bowen as captain. 16 people chose Haaland to be their captain. 14 people chose Saka to be their captain. 13 people chose Mbomo to be their captain. 11 people chose Mamouche to be their captain. 11 people chose Isak to be their captain. Another 11 chose Watkins to be their captain. 10 people chose KDB to be their captain. 10 people chose Palmer to be their captain. Another 7 chose Evan Nielsen. 3 chose Bruno Fernandes. 3 chose Eze. 3 chose Wisa. 3 chose Kluivert. 2 chose Solanke, Cunha, Wood, Højlund, Vardiol, Luis Diaz, Delap, Beto, Trossard, Odegaard, and Martinelli were chosen by one manager each to be their captain. You already know this by now, but the winner of this 38 weeks to go season is no other than Texas Tens. Congratulations to you, MACdeMARCOS FC. 2590 points. You are our champion. You got 56 points, but you had already done the work before. Number 2 is Duboy FPL, Duboy Original. Got 64 points, 25-55. Number 3 was Risa Set Pieces, 49 points, 25-54 points. Number 4 was Yusufa Mokoko, 25-37 points. Abdallah Kili, 25-35. Number 6, David Moy, 25-09. Number 7, Charles Cadavillas, very strong finish, 25-07. Franklin Asiema, 25-04. Number 9, Alan Mushangi, 24-89. And number 10 was Oti Omondi, who finished with 24-88 points. At the bottom of the table, Don Clinton, who was maybe the most active player, finished with 44 points and a total of 1268 for the season. He was a perfect lesson in that you can't make transfers every week. You have to be patient. Second from bottom was Duncan Anzigare, 1301 points. Third from bottom was Gift Omulangi, 1420 points. Ince Odeya was fourth last with 1574, and rounding up the fifth bottom was Olu the Analyst, 1582 points. So Texas Tens will reach out to the management and he will be rewarded the cash prize, which is 20,000 shillings. Congratulations to you, sir. You have done well. When it comes to overall number one in the whole wide world, Lovro Budisin has been crowned the champion. He was leader by 23 points, the first Croatian person to win it, and it's not easy to win this whole league. He finished with 2810 points, 2,810 points. His team name was Einer Kraft Brie, which loosely translates to, yo, let's go for a beer. Einer Kraft Beer. And with that, maybe next season we should try get a beer together or hang out some more and build a bit community. But for right now, I just want to say thank you for tuning in for the season. I'm sure there'll be a random episode or two in between now and next season. Have a great rest. You've earned it. Well done on committing to 38 weeks. You have done an incredible job. I am proud of you. And more importantly, you should be proud of yourself. If you can do this, you can do anything. Have a great summer. See you in August. Bye.